Thank you, Aaron and Laura. All right, we've got something special for you this evening. A few weeks ago, every Chicago sports fan, and even those who are not sports fans, was thrilled to hear that Steve McMichael had been selected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2024. Finally, yeah, Misty. The Les Turner ALS Foundation has been proud to support Steve and his family since he was diagnosed with ALS and will be there for them every step of the way. Steve can't be with us tonight, but now I'm going to pause because when I read that in the script that I read ahead of time, I was sort of disappointed that Steve would not be able to see the love in this room that is here for him this evening, though certainly his family and friends are here, but I thought, wouldn't it be great if Mongo could just know what's going on? So I talked to Misty, and it turns out he is watching. He will see us, and if we can hold that up, I want him to have you all say congratulations to Mongo. We wish you well. He is watching via FaceTime. Let's hear it for Steve McMichael. Come on, folks, stand up for that man. Chicago hero, if you can, You got it, Mongo. All right, we got him there. I knew Misty wouldn't take no for an answer. All right. Congratulations. His family and friends are here, as tonight we all feel as though we're family and friends with him, and we wanted to take this opportunity to celebrate truly one of the greatest to ever play the game of football and share a story about how much love and support matter for people living with ALS. Dan Pompei is a senior writer for The Athletic who's been telling NFL stories for close to 4 decades. He is one of 49 members on the Pro Football Hall of Fame Selectors Board. Thank you, Dan. And one of 9 members of the Seniors Committee. Tom Thayer was the starting right guard for the Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears 1985. He played for 9 seasons in the National Football League. Today, he is the color commentator alongside Jeff Joniak for Bears radio broadcasts on ESPN 1000. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dan Pompei and Tom Thayer.
It's an honor to be here tonight to tell you a little about Steve. Neither Tom nor I like to admit this, but we've known him for over 40 years. Steve McMichael was the kind of football player who got to the bottom of a pile and grabbed more than a football, if you know what I mean. He also was the kind who would enliven a listless locker room by smashing a helmet against his face until it was a bloody mess. In 1986, John Madden saw his relentlessness and ferocity. He called him his favorite defensive tackle in the game. And Steve was also that guy who took on the double team or held his blocker so teammates could make a play. He had a bigger-than-life personality. You've probably seen clips of him as a WWE wrestler slamming an opponent's head with a steel briefcase, or putting lipstick on the face of poor Mark Giangreco. You know, there was a perception about Steve, though, and then there are realities, and Tom is probably uniquely qualified to talk a little about that. So, Tom, why don't you come on in and tell us a little about the real Steve?
The real Steve. The perception of Steve McMichael. He's Mongo. He's Ming the Merciless. He's got these third-person nicknames that everybody knew him by. But months ago, Steve and I were talking, and he says, Tommy, I'll tell you what. You ever get a chance to sit up there and talk to people about Mongo, I want you to tell them the truth. I want you to tell them what a pistol fighter, tough guy that I've been my whole career. And you got to tell them the truth about Mongo and let them know about what I am as the football player. That's the perception of Steve McMichael. But the reality of Steve McMichael, he's one of the most intelligent, congenial, mentor, teammates that cares about the locker room. He is an incredibly intelligent person. I don't think Steve gets the credit for the quality and the caliber of person that he is. If the NFL had more guys like Steve McMichael, people would enjoy the NFL more. He meant more to me throughout my career and my time with him than any other teammate out there. I practiced head-to-head against him every single day of my career. And he turned me and made me the person and the player that I became, and I can't thank him enough for it. But you got to realize there's a perception of Mongo, Ming the Merciless, but you got to know who the real Steve McMichael is.
A lot of people have asked me about making the case for Steve as a Hall of Famer. I always say, look, he made his own case with his play for all those years. Did you know that he had 95 career sacks? If you go back to 1960, there's only 7 defensive tackles who have more. And you know, the Bears had the best run defense in the NFL statistically over a 10-year period. McMichael led the defensive line in tackles 7 times. He was a two-way player, run and pass. Also, he never missed a game to injury while playing in 221 straight non-strike games. That's incredible, incredible. You know, Mike Ditka called him the toughest player he ever coached. Maybe it was an understatement. Tom, you mentioned you practiced against him every day. Tell us a little about Steve as the player and why he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
A lot of the qualities that Dan just talked about, but it's not what you do on game day, it's what you do in preparation in order to get prepared for the game. Why did he make all those games? Because he dedicated himself to the weight room. He was always in condition. And I remember he would come up to me on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and he'd say, Tommy, I got to tell you what, you got to get ready today because I'm going to go hard all day. So put some air in your helmet, tie your shoes tight, make sure you tape your hands up because Mongo's not going to slow down. And so it's that appreciation that you had for him. And when I was playing in the USFL before I ever came to the Bears, I played with a guy that was Steve's roommate when he was with the New England Patriots for a brief time. And he gave me a forewarning. He says, look, you're going to go there and you're going to play and practice against a lot of guys, but there's no one that's going to offer what Steve McMichael is going to offer you. And from inside the locker room to outside the locker room to on game day to on the practice field, Steve McMichael should be in the Hall of Fame years ago, and I'm glad Dan went to bat for him to get him in the Hall of Fame. But it's not because of Steve is afflicted with ALS. It's because he had a career that's deserving of the Hall of Fame as much as anybody that's in the Hall of Fame.
Well, those of us who have known Steve for a long time, especially his wife Misty, are very appreciative of the Les Turner ALS Foundation, all their efforts here tonight and over time. They've prepared a wonderful video for you to watch now about Steve.
My name is Misty McMichael. Stephen Douglas McMichael is my husband. Steve and I first met on March 24th of 1998. It was a Sunday night, and he walked in the bar about midnight, and he had long black hair down to his waist, and he had Ray-Ban sunglasses on, and he had cowboy boots on. He came around and just sat right in front of me, and he said, I don't know what you think, but you can't have me. And I said, who said I wanted you? And that ever since that night, we've been together. He has the biggest personality of anybody I've ever known in my life, and just somebody that you want to be around. This March 24th, we will be married 23 years. We got officially diagnosed in 2020, and that was hard because you have denial in the beginning. You don't want to believe it, so you fight against that for quite a while, and then the disease progresses while you're trying to deny it. So you have to accept it and start fighting. And that's what we did. And then a couple of years ago, I met Kara Gallagher with the Les Turner Foundation. I love them. They honored Steve with the Courage Award, getting that first diagnosis and where to go from there. I think that's very important because the quicker you can get the diagnosis, the quicker you can start fighting. And that's what I want to work with Les Turner about and be there for the next guy. You just have to be there for each other. What I like more than anything is the outpouring of love from his 85 Bears brothers. The 85 team, the best defense ever. I call it the Bears Brotherhood. They're just all a family. I wanted him to get in the Hall of Fame before he died. And they're all happy to see him get what he deserves before he passes. We were just so thrilled that he got to see it and know that he's going to be enshrined in the hall for eternity, in football heaven where he should be. He's been the best husband in the world and gave me the best 26 years of my life. So I know these aren't the best years of his life, but I'm going to do all I can to make it the best. He was always there for me, so I had no problem being here for him.